Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another review here on Pez of the Mind. I am James Phoenix. Joining me today is Chris the Mole.
Hello.
And today we are going to talk about Star Trek Enterprise Season 4, the final season.
Yep.
If you'd like to reviews of seasons 1 through 3, go back into our video archive from last year where we did seasons 1 through 3 from September through November.
Yep, we just took a break for the Christmas.
We did. So now we're back to talk about the final season. This one was interesting.
Yep.
And watching this season, it makes me wonder how early they knew they were canceled in this season. Because
I'm
it
gonna
got to a
guess
point.
not a lot.
Well, I don't know, just because watching the season, it felt like they were everything they could have possibly wanted to do for the whole series into this season. Like too much.
That's not why though.
Oh,
They brought on a new writer, Mark, whatever his name was. He was a big fan of Star Trek. He loves stuff to do with it, and he was there to save the series. It was too late.
ah,
That's why,
yeah.
that's why you'll notice, like, my favorite episode of Star Trek, which is in this season, is more. I'm not, which we'll get to later, but it feels more like the original Star Trek, and it has a load of stuff in there for Star Trek fans. And this series is more about the fans than the previous ones were.
I could see that. Yeah, there's a lot more references to known Star Trek things here. I can agree with that. Yeah, it was. I was a little hesitant when the season opened up with alien Nazis, but it kind of moved on from there fairly quickly. So.
Yep. One of the other reasons I'm going to say, I don't think, because we're not going to go into detail about every episode, like we said last time, but basically, one of the reasons I think if they couldn't have known is look at T'Pol and Trip.
Yeah, that's true.
All the season that was in the background. She got married for the whole purpose of she was probably going to get just to get divorced. That's all that felt like. And it felt like it was in the background, like they were going to end the season final with those two reconciling and everyone being like, oh my God. And then in season 5 with the birth of the Federation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, cool, but we didn't get to see that.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. But yeah, they did a lot of. I did like a lot of things they did this season where they went through and did a lot of things raising Star Trek fans. They brought back Brent Spiner for an arc as another Sung ancestor. That was a lot of fun, and kind of set the seeds for how inevitably he would go into cybernetics and his descendant would create Data. That was neat, and want to give about that whole thing. We learned a lot more about that. They did really a lot of interesting stuff with Vulcan society this season, showing how they're not, as perfect as they think they are. They still have a lot of flaws and problems too, and how, humanity was able to benefit Vulcan in other ways compared to how Vulcan benefited them in terms of technology and stuff like that. So it's interesting showing that the humans, had the ability to reciprocate and provide help in terms of,
To be fair, they've shown that all 3 seasons so far. This is just the seasons in which the Vulcans actually accepted it. There is the character growth in that regard, not just seeing the flaws. Because, season 1, they had a fucking sacred religious monument as a spying outpost. They're not perfect.
That's true. Fair enough.
They're the ones who, from the very beginning, were like, no, cancel this whole trip.
Yeah, that's true. And I particularly like the arc of especially coming to this season, Ambassador Saval, came around for being the hard ass that Archer hated and couldn't stand and everything else to finally becoming a friend and an ally to the Federation, even over the Vulcan High Council. That was a lot of fun.
And yep. And also, this series makes me wonder something about Star Trek, which we may not want to possibly discuss, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but it just made me think about something.
Okay.
When I was rewatching it, I think one of the reasons it failed wasn't because of the studio and stuff, because they did make changes for season 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
I think the reason it failed is because it was Star Trek.
Could be.
And what I mean by this is, I know people are going to say, but they've had so many series and they've been great and stuff. They have, but here's the problem: they've had all those series of how many episodes? There's not much more they can do that's actually going to be an original or new story. And whenever they tried anything original and new, people would be like, "That's not Star Trek." And if they tried to make it like Star Trek, it's like, "Oh, well, this happened in this season."
That's
And I
true.
feel that's the pitfall it fell into, and I worry that might affect the next one they're going to try, but hopefully not as much. But we don't know. It might still do. I just feel like maybe it's outlived itself in terms of one continuous continuity.
It may have, yeah. We'll have to see what Discovery does and how that plays out. But I think it's one of the reasons why the movies did so well is they were able to go back and create their own timeline so they can kind of have more chance of original ideas and not be as compared to things.
Yeah, which they had to reset it and do that. But even some of that stuff isn't original, and most people complain, "Boo, that's just like Wrath of Khan, or this is just like this, this is just like this," and it's like, oh, okay. And even the third movie didn't perform as well as they'd hoped,
No, it didn't.
which it's kind of sad because I don't think it's failing because it's bad. I think it was failing just because they've done everything they can.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, that's kind of. I'm hoping they can still come up with some new stuff, but we'll have to wait and see. And it's not like there aren't new ideas out there because anybody who has played Star Trek Online or read any of the novels can tell you there's a lot of fresh ideas out there. You just have to adapt them.
Yeah, but the problem with that, there's a big portion of the fan base out there that loves to point out that the novels or the game are rightfully not canon because they don't feel like Star Trek. So if they try something too new, a load of fans back away. So you know what I mean? It's reached that point of to like next gen up to the end of Voyager was all very similar stuff, while different. Which I just feel like that this show sort of shed a light on it. A
A
lot of
little bit.
franchises run into that. Like I love Dragon Ball Z. Super Dragon Ball looks like it's retreading all the old stuff now, and a lot of people are getting sick of it.
Mm. All right, they still got a lot of hair colors they haven't used yet. Yeah. Just I did like how they got a lot of the fan stuff this season that was really neat, and even things that I, as a fan, that and they did explore some new stuff. Like the things they really did in this series that I liked, and they've done it a little bit leading up to this, but more so this season was explore Andor and the Andorian people. They've always been stated as being a primary member of the Federation, one of the founding members, but we've never known that much about them. And the fact that they went out of the way to introduce the character of Shran, whom we were able to see his society and his people through, and see, what the kind of military they were, the fact they live on an ice planet, some of their traditions and things. We were really able to get a feel for the Andorian people, and I really enjoyed being able to have that experience because I've seen them. And there are some novels that go more into detail about them, but seeing it on the screen and seeing, in canon how they were portrayed, I think that was really a big benefit to really delve into that particular people, and to a lesser extent, the Tellarites a little bit too. And I think that was always something good they did was delve into some of these other races we didn't know a lot about.
Yeah, and like I said, I do like that. Like I said, I love Enterprise. I really do. I enjoy Enterprise, but like I said, like even the stuff like you mentioned when you dialed into like the other races, look at the relationship between the Vulcans and the Blue people, and then put that with what happened in Next Generation between the classic Klingons who still wanted to be ruthless and the ones who are now more civilized, and it's the same story. And that's
Kind
part
of,
of the
yeah.
problem is they've done so many, like how many times have they done space Nazis? Admittedly, not as on the nose as they did this, but they kind of went there.
That's true. They
Like a
have done
lot.
that. But it's been long stated, and as somebody who works in a library, I can tell you, it's been long stated in all of literature that there are only a handful of actual stories in humanity, and all literature and entertainment is just variations on those same basic stories.
There is, but like people normally say, like if this was like like a brand new, if this like remove Star Trek from Enterprise and imagine it was a new series about
They
Earth
tried. The
going
fans
to
complained.
space. What was that?
I said they tried. The fans complained and made them put it back.
No, I was actually making a proper
I
point.
know.
I
I
was
know.
saying,
I was making a
I was
joke.
saying, remove Star Trek from it
Mhm.
and don't set in the continuity. It's just about Earth going to space. every story they do is interesting because these characters in this universe doesn't have a set rule
Yeah.
or a set, I don't know what you'd call it, but a set ideal of what this
Mhm.
should be.
Yeah. Exactly. There's no preconceptions.
Yeah, which that's always that may have held it back a little bit,
Yeah,
but
I
I,
agree.
I still like this.
Yeah.
I think season 4 is the best season. I know a lot of people do think that, but I will say season 3 did come close.
Yeah. See, I agree. Season 3 and 4 were both very close. One thing I did say, I was watching season 4 and I really liked it, and then they got to a particular arc. The where is it here? What was the arc? I think it was. Excuse me. Oh, right. It was the arc later. They do an arc. I did like they did an arc where they explained why the Klingons in Kirk's generation didn't have the forehead ridges, which was kind of clever. They went back and did that. Uh, but I like one of the things the arc when they opened that up. It seemed like they did when at the beginning of the first episode of that arc. They did a lot of things at the same time, and I was like, whoa, 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 there's too much. You're like, oh, Malcolm is in Section 31, and he's being told to sabotage things. Oh, Tucker is leaving the ship because he can't stand to be around to Paul. Why? You two were in love and she's divorced now. What is the problem here? Just be with her again. I don't see why there's an issue here. And just so many, so many things that were happening at once, and it's like, I don't know, Phlox is kidnapped, and it's like, no, calm down. Too much, like threw too much, and it ended up working out in the end, and everything smoothed out. And the Malcolm thing came into play later, and the Tucker and Paul thing was built up, so it worked out. It just felt like they threw a lot of things at once, and it overwhelmed me for a brief time before it,
Yeah,
it all sank in and worked.
yeah, I could see that. And the reason I mentioned like season 3 was also really good is season 3 had one continuous season arc.
Yes, and that was
This
beneficial.
one's chopped up into little arcs, and each little arc I felt was still done really well.
They were very well. Yes, agreed.
And yeah, I'll mention it. My favorite is still the Mirror Universe one.
In A Mirror Darkly, those are both very good.
Yep, I loved the little references, and I loved how over the top the actors were willing to go for it to make it feel like it just came right out the 60s or 70s.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful, it's wonderful.
It was great. It was great. It was great to see a lot of Flux is just so jolly. Oh yes, I've invented this torture machine that inflicts horrible pain on people. And
Yep.
Malcolm was just beating. Just like, oh, I hate people. I'm gonna start. I want to shoot people. And they turned Mayweather into one of the Mako dudes. And particular credit to Linda Park for having the demure shy Hoshi turn into full on slut banging everybody for power Hoshi, because that was amazing.
Yep. And I loved the what did you call it? With that as well, I also loved, like I said, like you got the uniforms and stuff, which was such a nice touch. And it like I said, it just felt good. And they even brought Gorn in.
There was a Gorn. He was a CGI Gorn, but he was still a Gorn.
He was, which it worked, and it just seemed to embrace a lot of the older stuff. And I'm like, oh, it's so wonderful.
I was, as much as there were some that it did end up, I was a little upset that there were not any blatant killings of red shirts.
Yep.
But what you gonna
do? Yep. But
yeah,
it's like I said, I loved the original series, so that was just great. With okay, you're doing that, and it's a sequel and a prequel, like they did with the Borg. That's cool. I see what you're doing here. You build everything up. The actors are playing alternate versions of themselves really well. All the pieces just fell into place with that one episode. And that one scene where the Defiant lights up for the first time is probably one of the best shots in Star Trek TV. Period.
Oh yeah, that was a great shot. Yeah, that was really great. And seeing they brought the effort they went through for fan accuracy in that. They brought the whole set back together. They had the shirts and everything. They made sure it fit perfectly into canon. This is the ship that disappeared in Kirk's time and ended up in the Mirror Universe in the past. Working all the details in to the point. And I remember reading this once in one of the books about Star Trek. They actually went through the effort. If you look at the opening scene when Archer and the crew first board the bridge of the Defiant. When they board the bridge of the Defiant, they find the captain and the crew dead on the bridge. If you look at that scene and compare it to the scene from the original series, the last time we saw the Defiant, the people that are standing in for the crew are in the exact same positions that the original crew were in the Kirk episode when we last saw the ship.
Yep, it is a thing of beauty. Which that the fan stuff done right, while also giving us just a cool story.
Yeah,
Unlike, which we'll have to touch on as well, the worst Star Trek episode ever, the final,
yeah, yeah.
where basically they're like, 6 years has passed and they lived no lives, but we're going to please the next gen babies by making it all about next gen because that's all the fangirls want. And you're like, come on, not everything has to be next gen. Because whenever you see a
No.
list, everyone's always like, oh, Picard this, Picard that. Fuck off. Kirk was first, but no one gives enough credit to him. No one gives enough credit to Deep Space Nine. And you're like, it's not all next gen, but they're like, no, we had to do this. And it's like, oh, why? It's a big middle finger to especially to the loyal fans of that
Oh
series, because
yeah,
they were there for 5 years and get no closure, or 4 years, sorry, and get no closure.
close enough. Yeah, I agree. And even as someone who I've been watching for 4 seasons, even knowing that was coming because I've heard about that episode and seen clips of it here and there on the internet. Even watching after 4 years watching Enterprise, even I felt like it was a middle finger after watching this great series. Like, wow, this is shit. Why did you do this?
Yeah, like
Especially,
even Archer's speech where they interrupt him just felt half-assed and really
yeah,
predictable.
yeah, and even like, and it's not the worst because the episode right before it, I think it was called Demons. Was that the one right before it? No, Terra Prime. The way it ended felt like a perfect series finale. You could have just ended it there. It would have been fine.
Yep, that whole episode was just stupid.
That was fucking terrible.
And like I said, it's worse because, like I said, it did, especially when you watched it the first time on TV as well, when you didn't know it was coming. But like you said, even when you know it's coming, it's still terrible.
Yeah,
Because I'm sorry,
awful.
it doesn't matter whether or not which series of Star Trek you like the most. Each one should have its own conclusive ending for
Yeah.
itself. Because at the end of the day, each one's been watched by those people.
Yeah, and like not only does it, we're going to make this all about Riker and Deanna, we're going to resurrect some Enterprise D sets for this. Not only did they go that far, but they've got the Enterprise crew making next gen jokes, subtle next gen jokes in the dialogue. They're on the bridge. And they was like, oh man, Malcolm, can you believe that? Or leaving the Enterprise after 10 years? Well, all good things.
Yep.
That's the name of the next
And
gen finale for those that don't know. And there was one where they
they
literally
know it's
called it.
come up in every one of our videos.
Yeah.
Every one of our Star Trek videos, that's come up.
Yeah. And then there's another thing later on where they're talking about the new fleet of Warp 7 ships that are coming out, and somebody calls them the next generation. It's like, wow.
Yep. Not to mention, Trip has the most stupidest, dumbest, just laziest death in all the series.
Although you have to admit, at the moment it happened, it was kind of badass. Sort of
No,
thing. We
I,
could go
I found
straight
it
to
really
hell.
dumb. Yeah, I just found that cheesy and over the top and really dumb. I was like, why? This doesn't need to happen.
No.
I wasn't like, oh no, you killed Trip, or oh, he sacrificed. I was just like, oh, it's just bad.
Yeah, and then they barely acknowledge it. And on top of that, because of Riker is time skipping through the fucking program, you barely get acknowledgement of it, except for a lot of Ultras. Oh, now I have to go get this big important speech. Everything's fine when my friend Trip is dead. It falls like it's fallen, and Flock's like, no, you're gonna be fine, sir. Just go do it. It's okay.
Yep. But like I said, I do like this series, the Next Generation. Well, I do it, the Enterprise season 4. I do like that series. It was the Enterprise from 1 to 4 was probably, in my opinion, one of, if not the most underrated Star Trek series ever.
Oh, I totally agree.
It's really good, and people are just like, "Boo, we don't like it." Why? Because it's in the past and it's slightly different. It's slightly different because it's in the past. If you're
Yeah, and
going if you're going by that standard, Next Gen was different to the original. Deep Space was different to Next Gen. I'm not going to mention Voyager because that was actually bad.
yeah, that was actually shit. I've gotten about 4 episodes into season 2. I can't watch any more of it. It's just fucking garbage.
Yeah, and it's just like people didn't give it a chance. I mean, because this was around the time of the age of the internet as well. People
Yeah.
start posting online about how terrible the series is, and then people start regurgitating it without ever watching an episode. And you're like, oh, come on.
And I fully admit I was guilty of that, and I feel horrible about it now that I've actually watched it and realized this is actually really good for the most part, and I can't I was bad-mouthing it for all those years.
Yep, that's why as you when you entered the games in Star Trek Online when we play on PS4, I had Next Generation uniforms on my Starfleet officer, and I have like the next. I had Enterprise like the blue jumpsuits and stuff with the color
Yeah.
code until I changed it as I progressed, and I also had the replica of the Enterprise's ship in there, that particular Enterprise model. I'm like, oh, it's so awesome.
Until you realize, oh wait, this is a piece of shit I can't equip anything to because the game hates this ship.
I like that ship. When I was playing as it, it was cool. The DLC one, I got it. I liked it. I paid money for it. I enjoyed it. And then when it was time for me to upgrade, yeah, I was like, oh, I preferred my old one. I wish I could just convert that into the next tier, but
Yeah.
eh.
Alas. But yeah, just a lot of great things about this season. Like bringing a lot of fan things in, a lot of great arcs. But one thing I did particularly like, fucking, these are the voyages aside, that last arc they did, Demons and Terra Prime, I thought it was just ultimately poetic that after all the years that humans went out into space, all these aliens had to deal with all these different conflicts with the Vulcans and the Andorians and the Tellarites and all these other peoples they ran into, and the Zindi, and all this stuff that come the end, that they still have to overcome is humanity itself.
Yep.
That just seemed poetic to me.
Yep. And there was some problems this season, like some of the character growth that they tried to insert, either through arcs or via the time skip of stuff like, oh, now Hoshi knows martial arts. You're like, why? Because she's Asian. She can now do martial arts. Oh, okay. And like the officer, I forget his name, the younger one who worked on the cargo ship, his arc was completely forgettable. It was just like, really, that's what you're doing with him? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but overall, really enjoyable, and I was glad to see development of characters and a lot of what they did here to explore some of the other races that relates to the backstory for a lot of the things that we know of in Star Trek and how they came about. And I thought that was pretty cool that they got all that put in there. And I'm really sad it got canceled when it did because it sounds like they had a lot more great ideas going forward that I would have liked to see. But overall, it was just really enjoyable, and I think it is definitely, like you said, underrated, and people should watch and give Enterprise a chance.
Yep.
Oh, and here's something cool that I found out yesterday. I have the first one coming. I found out there is actually a much like with all the Star Trek series, there are of course non-canon novels that pick up where the series left off, and I found
they're
out there
called
are
the
about
Next Generation books.
funny.
That is where the series left off.
Well, or each individual series left off, I mean, not the franchise left off. But there are, yeah, the Next Gen book series is still running, as is the concurrent DS9 and Voyager series is. And occasional books about Riker's ship, the Titan, as well. But I found out there's a number of Enterprise, about a half a dozen Enterprise books, a new one coming out this year, actually, that pick up where this left off, starting off with correcting the big injustice of saying, to go be a spy to the Romulans. So it's like, okay, well, we'll give that a shot. And then it kind of leads a couple of books, and then it leads to the Romulan War picking up, and then a series of books that are subtitled, I think it's Founding the Federation or something like that. So kind of digging into that whole thing as well. So I'm interested in reading those, even if they're not canon. It sounds like fun.
Nice.
But yeah, overall, this was enjoyable. They did a lot of good things. Enterprise as a whole, really enjoyable. Great characters, a lot of fun. And I'm, sad we didn't get to spend, more time with them. But I'm definitely gonna go back trying to find some Enterprise panels at conventions now to see how the cast and crew are doing. And I kind of hoping maybe I get to meet some of them at a con sometime because really they did a great job.
I will say, unlikely you will meet T'Pol.
Oh, Blalock doesn't do that.
At least for a while. She may have come back to it after, and now I'm not sure. But for a while, she left the fan base type stuff and wouldn't have anything to do with them because she kept getting, shall we say, sexual harassment
Harassed. Yeah, of course. That doesn't shock me.
about it.
Well, can you be so with how they portrayed her character for 4 years? Are you shocked?
Cool. Victim blaming.
No, it's not victim blaming. I'm blaming the fucking writers of the show for unnecessarily sexualizing her.
Yeah, but just because they sexualize the character doesn't mean people
No, it's
should do
not
that
right.
to
They
the
still shouldn't
actor.
be doing that to her. No, just unfortunately, I see what causes people to do these things.
Yeah, what causes people to do those things is those people have no morals.
Yeah,
That's what causes people to do
but
that.
these obsessive fanboys, they watch the show and every other episode, like, oh, T'Pol's half naked, getting gel rubbed on her. It's like, yeah, some of them are gonna not have the controls and they're gonna do stupid shit.
Yeah, but that's their fault. It's like, for example, I've met people from Buffy who were in sexual roles. I've met people from wrestling who were from divas and stuff. I've met celebrities at other conventions and stuff like that who were in similar roles. Not once have I sexually harassed them because
Right, because you don't have
it's
mental
wrong to
problems.
do so.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's wrong to do so.
exactly.
But
But
but like
and,
I said,
and, and,
it'd still be
but
cool to see
yeah.
the cast back together. There was rumors a while back and a petition and stuff because people were trying to get Netflix to resurrect it and just ignore the final and making the series continue.
Right, ignore that. Yeah,
But it didn't. Obviously, that didn't happen, and
yeah,
it
that's
definitely won't happen because they're not going to give the rights to a new Star Trek series to another streaming service while putting their new Star Trek series on a
on their
streaming
streaming
service.
service. Yeah, that won't happen. If Discovery bombs, maybe, but we'll see.
Discovery will bomb.
Because it's on the streaming service.
That's the only reason. However, it might get traction internationally.
Yeah, because they don't have that streaming service over there, do they?
No, like over here, it's on Netflix with other stuff. So while I'm paying for Netflix, I'm also not just paying to watch that. I'm also paying to watch the films, the cartoon stuff. And while there may be some Star Trek fans that pay just to see this, the selection on their streaming service is really lacking just for
Mm,
this one tiny show. Well, not
yeah,
tiny, but you know what I mean? It's one show, and you're like, it's not worth it.
yeah, I can understand that. Like I said, luckily they're going to air the pilot on TV to try to entice people, so I'll watch that and see how it goes. Make a
Yep.
decision at that point.
And we'll be discussing that on Pairs of the Mind when it comes on.
We
Probably
will.
a resurrection or a reboot of the Origins.
We could, yeah, that'd be good.
Because I believe you wanted to do an Origin for it.
I do. So, with that, that was a look at Star Trek Enterprise Season 4 and the series as a whole. That was a great series, great cast. I'd love to meet Scott Bakula or Connor Trenier at some point. I mean, those are great. John Billingsley, maybe, Phlox. I mean, they're just great. I'd like to meet them sometime. So, props to them. And for a great series of really being enjoyable and, having great chemistry among their cast. You don't see very often. They did a great job. And I encourage everybody out there, don't judge Enterprise before you've watched it. Don't judge it just because, it's early on and there's, not a lot of the things that we take for granted in Star Trek series. Because there is a lot of greatness here. Just seeing these characters, seeing them interact, and seeing humanity go out to the stars for the first time. Really, the theme song and opening sequence tell you all you need to know.
Yep.
That's why it's perfect for what it is, contrary to complaints at the time. So go check this out if you get a chance. All the seasons are, of course, available on DVD. They are available on CBS's streaming service, and internationally they are on Netflix.
Yep. And yeah, it was a great series. Like I said, I'd give it a definite watch, thumbs up. And yeah, and stick around because we got stuff coming up all this month, including uh, what was it? A talking grid about for the relationships within the Power Rangers series. We have a opinion junkies coming up about games that have inspired other games, and
Yes.
we got and possibly along the way we'll have a review or two of like Telltale Batman, the Lego Batman movies being reviewed,
Yes.
and more. So hey,
Yep, it's gonna be a good month. So stay tuned, and of course, don't forget our technically the first countdown of our year of villains.
yep, which is
I believe it was did we go with the Marvel villains? I don't have the thing in front of me. Hang on. Let me pop this open real quick. Sorry. Let's see, for January that is going to be the top 5 supervillain origins.
which is cool, but I was more hinting towards you telling them the date.
Oh. Top 5 supervillain origins. That's on Tuesday the 31st, final day of the month. So join us for that.
Yep, which is also funny because 31st, it's the last day that the DCUO stuff will be on, so it ties into that as well.
It is, and we'll
It's
try to
also the
play it.
first day that the Call of Duty Infinite Warfare DLC is out on PS4. Check it out now, people. Into the Woods
Nice.
Zombie Pack.
Go with it. And of course, we will probably, once I get it to play it, we'll be reviewing Power Rangers Mega Battle.
Completed it.
He did. It's helpful to have the Mega Blaster.
Yep. It is super helpful. Some of the skills you upgrade are just for if you're playing with friends.
Mm.
Because if you both press the button at the same time, you'll do co-op moves.
Nice.
However, on your own, especially more so with being Tommy, just because he doesn't do anything in it, it's funny just pressing L2, having all 5 appear in front of him, summon no weapons, fuse and blast, and him just stood there like, oh, holding this dagger.
Ah.
I'm like, that's just cool.
That's funny.
But yeah, there's lots of stuff coming up, people. And Royal
Lots of
Rumble.
stuff.
Woo.
And the Royal Rumble. For Chris the Mole, I'm James Phoenix. We'll see you next time, folks.
Peace.